The renewing of hope is a community of people united by compassion and service.
The renewing of hope is a reunion of friends and family the first day back in the dining room.
A big sparkling smile from a grateful patient.
Es amor en una caja de comida para la alacena familiar.
A room, a safe place to call home.
And strangers becoming family.
A new access to care, a lifetime of health.
A set of keys unlocking a new chapter in life.
The renewing of hope is every morning, meeting new faces at the Resource Center and seeing their potential. Just one spark of hope can change a life.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Curtis from 12 News, and it is just an honor and a pleasure to be back with you for the Renewing Hope Breakfast. It's virtual once again. We hope this is the last virtual breakfast because we kind of like being together all in one place and feeling that great energy that we have when we have our Restoring Hope breakfast. But for this year, because of obvious reasons with the pandemic, we're going to be virtual because we want all of you to be safe and healthy, and hopefully you are. Sitting with your loved ones. And I just want to thank you before we get going this morning. Thank you so much for being so generous last year during our first virtual breakfast. We know that it's not easy to give money at any time, but for such a worthy cause like St. Vincent de Paul, so many of you were able to dig deeply last year on our first virtual breakfast. And you made it a huge success, and we hope that you'll find that same kindness and compassion this year as we make our way through the program. We're here in the St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank, where a lot of the magic happens. Of course, it happens with the staff members here and all of the great volunteers, but so many people need food. They don't only need it this time of the year, but they need it year-round, and you can see the vast stores of food made possible by your kindness. St. Vincent de Paul not only feeds people, but gives hope and healing, medical care and dental care. And it gives hope to parents that their kids will have a safe place to sleep at night and a healthy environment to learn with their school studies. We talked a second ago about all of the great staff members here, but there are also tremendous volunteers, and hopefully some of them are on our breakfast this morning because I want you to know how much we appreciate each and every one of you. Last summer, just to give you an idea of the scope of the great work that St. Vincent de Paul does, many of you remember how hot it was last summer. We had record heat throughout the summer. And St. Vincent de Paul created an emergency heat relief shelter where 1,700 people were helped. And they were helped oftentimes by the volunteers. One of those volunteers is a woman named Paula. I want you to watch her story.
Working here in this space, like the first day, it was so calming. And it's a safe spot. Volunteering it was part of my life since I was a girl. Actually, my first volunteering activities were through my church with my family, working in a soup kitchen. You hear stories of your community, you just see the downtrodden, and you get called to action. And like I said, it was ingrained in us, and it's just something that brings joy to my life. So the first day I learned, I did the water station, and I kept coming back. So I kept coming back every Friday, learning something new. So the next Friday, I manned the snacks. The next Friday, I handed out sheets. And all of this was done after they check in and they come get their snacks, their water, and their sheets. So after that, then I did the manifest. And what that means is going around, getting the people's names and putting them with their beds. And that was actually the most meaningful. I liked doing the manifest. Again, you get this more personal interaction. I like to think I'm the last one that gets to tell them good evening. So it's just, I get to put them to bed. And so that was wonderful. And one of the guests actually made me realize this. I'm a helper, you know. And so when I can't help, I'm unbalanced. And so this helped create balance in my life again. It means a lot for me to be able to provide that safe spot when people are at their most vulnerable. It's been a long, hot day, and they come here and they sleep. That's at your most vulnerable. For them to share their vulnerability and help, and I get to create that safe environment for them, that's it. That's why I keep coming back. That's what renews my hope. Absolutely.
That was Paula's story, and we're with Steve Zabilski and Shannon Clancy, two people like Paula with hearts of gold. And I think that really is one of the mandates, that you have to have a big heart to work here, or else you just have been a magnet for people with big hearts, because the one common thread is that everyone that works here, whether they're volunteers or staff members, they all have big hearts like Paula.
You're exactly right, Mark. We see that literally 365 days a year. The people that come down to St. Vincent de Paul, whether they're in our dining room, our food bank, our homeless shelter, our medical, our dental, wherever they are, they're there because they choose to be there. They want to make a difference. One
of the things that I was saying to Steve when I came in today is that for me personally, and I'm sure for many of you watching this renews hope. And it not only renews hope for the clients here at St. Vincent de Paul, but for all of us who are involved. It renews our faith in humanity, that despite all of the bad things that are out there, and we have all experienced it, starting with COVID, starting with the doubt in the science and all of that stuff, no matter what you believe, that there is inherent goodness in people. And you come here and you feel that, and you see it in action. And now more than ever, Steve, I mean, COVID has impacted so many people in so many different ways, not only individuals, but also families.
It has, Mark. You know, we've had literally, whether people have lost their job because of COVID, and many thousands have who've come to St. Vincent de Paul, or even if they haven't lost their job, maybe their hours were reduced, their children are at home, they're not going to school, the stress, the anxiety. You couple that with the fact that rents are increasing astronomically, the cost of housing for all of us, tremendous increases. People simply, even people with jobs, cannot afford the housing costs today. And that's where St. Vincent de Paul has stepped in. And in fact, in this last year, we spent more than $8 million helping thousands of families to prevent them from becoming homeless. And if you could think about that, our streets are bad right now with the number of homeless people that exist in them. But think if we added thousands more to that. By working with our partners, St. Vincent de Paul has enabled those people to stay in their homes, or if they lost their homes, we've got them into motels, so that at least they're not on the streets, the family is together, and they're waiting to get into a shelter.
And Shannon, there are so many things at play when you talk about people who have fallen on hard times, many times through no fault of their own, like Sabrina, the woman we're about to meet. Here's a woman with her kids, they were spotted, and you all envelop them in the love the way you do with so many people. Oftentimes their stories aren't told or captured, but in her case, it was. Tell me a little bit about Sabrina.
Sure. Well, it was actually one of our staff members, Ronnie, who got off at an exit and came upon Sabrina and her family, just a single mom, but living in their car over the summer. So you just imagine trying to support a family like that and trying to get by day after day. And by chance or, circumstance or just the gift of a Holy Spirit there, he came upon her and he was able to help her.
And let's face it, no one chooses to be in this situation. I think people who haven't really taken a look at the world around them, when they see someone on the side of the road that maybe need $1 and they're holding up a sign, they go, oh, they should get a job. Trust me, no one chooses to be in this position. And that's why I think St. Vincent de Paul and the volunteers you have like Ronnie and Paula, whose story we saw earlier, who can envelop these people with love and give them hope for a better tomorrow. That's where you guys make so much of the difference.
Absolutely.
All right, here is Sabrina's story.
It's been a lifetime of letdowns. Like, my dad was a pastor. He ended up going to prison when I was 17. And then to get into a manipulative relationship. And all these years, for it not to work, it's like, what's going on? Like, I just didn't understand it. I was married for 11 years. We were together since I was 16 years. So that's all I knew. And it was very easy for me to just stay. But when the verbal abuse started with the kids, I couldn't allow that, because I can't call myself a teacher and a mother, but my kids are stuck in a house where they're being taunted and verbally abused and basically destroyed every day. I wasn't going to do that.
Well, I met Sabrina one day. I actually was on my way home, and I actually missed an exit. And ironically, strange enough, I exit off on Indian School Road, and I just so happened to see a young man standing on the corner selling water bottles. And as he was, I said, this young man, he's out selling water bottles. Man, I'm gonna go get him something cold to drink. So I actually went to a van. She was in a van along with her other children. And so I identified who I was, and I asked her what was her situation. She indicated that she had been homeless. She was actually fleeing domestic violence from another state, and she had her children out selling water bottles so they can have a place to stay.
It felt like a miracle I had just told the kids probably 10 minutes before meeting him that we were going to get a blessing tomorrow. And I just said it because we were just feeling really down. And I was like, we're going to get a blessing tomorrow. And he came up to the car that night, and then the kids were like, I think we just got a blessing right now. And I'm like, y'all right.
We give hope to people. Being here as a resource center, being here it's almost like being a light in the midst of a storm. It's being a place of stability in the midst of chaos. And so, because a lot of families, especially individuals, go through a lot of chaos. When you lose your home, when you go through a DV situation, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of hurt, and there's a lot of pain. And it's almost like we're like a lighthouse, and we're guiding people in the right direction.
He brought us in whenever we're hungry. We're like, Mr. Ronnie, he's like, well, coming, it's dinner time, or we have sandwiches, we have a pantry. He makes sure that we're never hungry. There's been times when I needed gas to get the kids to school. He's made sure we've had gas. I've been able to get clothing and shoes for the kids. And then they were able to put us in a hotel room for a week until we transitioned into U-Mom shelter. At 7 in the morning, when I have nothing, to call Mr. Ronnie and to know that when he gets to work about 9 o'clock, he's gonna call with something, that's like the most hope I can have. And it's not just when he feels like it, it's every single time.
Sabrina said it many times. She said, Mr. Ron, I think I'm going to pack up. I said, no. Let's do this. Let's do this. You've done it thus far. You're almost there. You're almost there. You don't have to, because I've seen many do it. I've seen many get to the brink of breakthrough, and that's when the storm gets the toughest. On the brink of breakthrough, and then the storm gets the toughest. And by that time, you really have built up resolve that you don't even know. You've really built up strength that you're not even aware of. But because you've been walking through the process for so long, it seems like, man, I'm just tired. But internally, there's something that has developed in you, and it's called resolve. It's resolve, strength that you're not even aware of. So what happened, pow, the breakthrough. Sabrina's on the brink of breakthrough now. Sabrina's on the brink of breakthrough. And very powerful story, very powerful story. And she'll be able to do for others that what happened to her. She'll be able to tell mothers that are stranded, broken, they want to quit, want to give their kids up to the system. She'll be able to say, you can do this because I did it. You can do this. And that's the key right there. That's the key. That's the key.
I got something to tell you.
Okay.
We got a house.
What?
We got a house.
I have a house?
No, we have a house.
I'm actually in my dripper?
Yeah.
Yay!
Ronnie, if you're watching this morning, we love you for your strength. And Ronnie is another one, like Paula, who exemplifies. And I love what he said, Shannon, to be that beacon of light, that beacon of hope when you are feeling hopeless. That's what St. Vincent de Paul and the great volunteers here provide.
Right, it's right. So many people who come to us at St. Vincent de Paul, like you said, they're going through struggles, things have happened. And it's not so much the food, the clothing, the shelter, the health care. It's that they know that they're not alone, that someone is there for them, especially in those tough times when Ronnie said, no, you can, sometimes people have to believe in you before you can believe in yourself.
Right.
And that's really an important part of St. Vincent de Paul's way of service, in fostering that connection and those personal relationships and letting people know that they're not alone. And the beauty is, it comes right back. You know, we always say that love that you put out in the world comes right back to 1,000-fold. And that's what happens at St. Vincent de Paul every day.
And one of the things that struck me, Shannon, is that, and a lot of times probably people don't think about this as one of the benefits and one of the arms of St. Vincent de Paul is that a woman who has been victimized not once but twice, homelessness and also abuse, can come here and seek refuge and seek shelter and have her kids feel safe and know that she's not the only one going through that.
Right, right. You can also trust people again.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it. It takes a lot to be able to reach out to someone. We think that's easy, but it's not. It's hard for all of us to reach out to someone for help. And so we really need to embrace people as family in that moment of need.
And Steve, in Ronnie's case, like so many others, he's come full circle.
He has, Mark. He has. He's a special human being. I mean, he's a wonderful case manager. He's an even better human being, and you see that in the video. And I get to personally be around a person like Ronnie. It's so inspiring, and it never ceases to amaze me that these are the type of people we have at St. Vincent de Paul. These are the type of volunteers who come to St. Vincent de Paul. And when I thank the volunteers, and this has been for 25 years, Mark, they'll look at me and they say, no, thank you. Thank you for letting me come to St. Vincent de Paul and to have the opportunity to find this sense of meaning and purpose and joy in my life and to give back. And that is the beauty of St. Vincent de Paul. Of course, it's all the people we help. Of course. It goes without saying. All the food boxes, all the visits to the clinic, of course. But it's also that people come here and they get to live a life that God created them to do. And that's the blessing.
And I think in some ways, maybe Ronnie was supposed to run across Sabrina that day.
I think so.
He was the one that was chosen to help her.
I think so.
And what a great story. And we only scratched the surface. Let's take a look at Ronnie's story.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest, a lot of people that come through our doors, they never would think they would be in that position. Never. And that's the key. We have to look at them and don't judge them. Don't stereotype them. Just know they're human beings just like us. We're the same. And some that have never been in that position, it's so easy to get there. And I've been in that position, so I know how it feels. I know how it feels. I know how it feels. Well, you know, I'm a 10-year veteran, 10-year Marine, you know, and I raised my children independently. I was very fortunate to have custody over my son and my daughter. And I experienced on my journey, when they were children, this process of eviction, this process of transition, this process of losing an apartment, and for whatever reason. And I know the pain of that. I know the pain of that as a parent when you are trying so hard for your family, for your children. And a sense of failure that sets in. And so in saying that, I know the pain behind it. And you want to do the right thing. And so I went through that as a father. And eventually I did get through. I raised my children, but not without some hurdles. Eventually, in my time, I had a recent experience that I became homeless, and this is outside of my children. My children were adults, and but I became homeless again. I said, this pattern is still there. This is what's going on with me. I applied for St. Vincent de Paul. I worked there faithfully, and it gave me a lot of insight into the needs of others, and in terms of, we're talking about the homeless, and I was able to identify, there was a degree of empathy there. I can feel it, you know, because I was experiencing it firsthand. And through that process, that began to help me heal. And the more I served, the better I got. The more I helped others, the better I got. And it motivated me more. Serve, keep serving, keep blessing, keep encouraging, keep strengthening, keep giving words of hope, keep giving words of reconciliation, keep giving words of instruction, keep giving it. And I just did, and the more I did it, the stronger I became. Little did I know that was inside of me, meaning that vulnerable side that I was in really hurting inside, and didn't even realize it. Being at St. Vincent de Paul has been a healing process for me. It's been a restorative process to me because of the service to others. Serving others has brought the restoration that I needed. And you know, we often say we're helping other people heal, but we're being healed too.
Throughout the last few months, we've been on a journey together at St. Vincent de Paul in a season of renewing hope, sharing our greatest hopes for our community and for each other. We've heard from many of you, and from Paula, Sabrina, and Ronnie, that what renews our hope at St. Vincent de Paul is transforming lives as we feed, clothe, house, and heal together, discovering meaning, purpose, and joy through connection and belonging, finding healing through service and love. Besides offering shelter, our overnight heat relief program also included something else that was very special. An encouraging note created by volunteers was left on every guest cot each night. And one of our shelter guests shared with us that she kept all those notes and read them again and again because they reminded her that she was loved and filled her with hope. In that same spirit, we sent you a package in advance of our event today, and now I invite you to open it. And if you signed up for our event in the last few days, know that that package is being mailed to you and it'll arrive any day. Last year, for those of you who joined us, we invited you to share a note of hope and encouragement to someone you knew. This year, we invite you to do something different. just like our volunteers made special notes for our shelter guests whom they had never met. We invite you to share a note of hope with someone who you may not know, a special member of our St. Vincent de Paul family. Your hope note can be very simple. You can share a quote that renews your hope, a song lyric, or just your greatest hope for our community. We invite you to write that note before Thanksgiving and then follow the 3-step instructions inside. First, write your note. Second, self-address that small envelope, but don't seal it. And third, put both the note and the envelope back in the large stamped envelope and mail that back to us at St. Vincent de Paul. Our team will exchange all those notes and will send one back to you from a member of the St. Vincent de Paul family. One of the most powerful aspects of our St. Vincent de Paul mission is our ability to harness the strength of love, compassion, and care to renew hope in our world. Each of us has the power every day to renew hope and change lives in those in our own circle and in the larger community. And you do. Your support, your love, the beauty and depth of your generosity renew our hope at St. Vincent de Paul every day, all year long. Thank you for filling our community with light and love. Thank you for caring. Thank you, and God bless you for all that you make possible.
It is so good to see you, my friend. We all miss you down at Channel 12. You must know that.
I do, and I miss you guys immensely, but I love my family, my new family here at St. Vincent de Paul.
And I just want to ask you, you've been here for a year now, which is hard to believe. Happy anniversary. How has this year here changed you?
Mark, it has opened my eyes so much. I never knew the depth or the different levels of services that St. Vincent de Paul provides. I thought it was merely one in which they fed the homeless, but oh my gosh, was I wrong? I mean, I am just so impressed, so blown away by the level of services and support that they give to our community.
Here's this Marine. We watched Ronnie's story, the toughest of the tough, right? A man who proudly served his country for 10 years, but he was broken. Mm-hmm. He was broken, and he came here and he healed, first because he needed help, and then as a volunteer, and then as a staff member. Have you felt that healing power of St. Vincent de Paul?
Yes, Mark. I could tell. I've seen a number of stories that are akin to Ronnie's. But listening to Ronnie, I mean, he struggled, got really emotional in trying to use the word failure as it relates to him and him trying to raise his family. But I loved how he talked about, not only do the St. Vincent de Paul provide a healing aspect for others, but the other way around too. It healed him. He could empathize with others because he was in a similar situation.
And I got the sense in watching Ronnie's story and talking to so many of the volunteers, and of course I love Steve and Shannon so much, but the common denominator is this capacity to love others and to give. And sometimes, and I wanted to ask you, you find things out about yourself that you didn't know, right?
You do. And Mark, I have been blown away by the Vincentians. I didn't even know what a Vincentian was. I had to learn what a Vincentian was here. And to see how they get so involved with the people that they serve in their different communities. I even witnessed one of the Vincentians making a phone call to one of their clients and said, "Hey, school's about ready to start. I haven't heard from you. I mean, do your kids need anything?" And sure enough, Her kids needed backpacks, all the different school supplies, but she was so overwhelmed because she had recently lost her father.
Well, I just want to say that our loss at Channel 12 is St. Vincent de Paul's gain, and there is a day coming up that you always had circled on your calendar. It was the day I dreaded because back in the day when you and I would go head to head on Turkey Tuesday, I got crushed all the time.
Well, let me tell you something. I love everything about Turkey Tuesday. I mean, I just love how the community rallies so much. But I think one of my biggest advantages was that I was in the East Valley and you're in the West Valley, and so I was able to lean on those It
wouldn't have made a difference. You could have been on Mars and you would have beat me because this man has connections like no one. But look, here we are in November already. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and then Christmas, and it's really the kickoff to the holiday season. And I just hope everyone out there remembers that there are those who will not be as fortunate as we are with our families, and so this is a time to reach deep and to give what you can.
And I'll be calling on you to do just that.
All right, listen, have a wonderful, safe, and healthy, keyword healthy, Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday season with your families. We thank you for giving, and if you haven't done it yet, please give what you can.